This is DG Chichester, and you're listening to the Capes and Lunatics podcast.
And welcome back to another month of the Chichester Chats. It's me, Phil. Lilith is here. Justin is here. And of course, the law around these parts, it is Mr. DG Chichester.
That's right. Let's execute this story. And let's bring the judgment down.
Oh my. That's right, everyone. As we said last month, this time we're going to be talking about Judge Dredd, Legends of the Law, issues 5, 6, and 7. So, one of your rare DC, like, you didn't do a lot of work for DC.
No, I wanted to, but they don't. That they didn't take the bait, I guess. So, and they continue to this day when I try to get my comp copies and stuff. So it never happens either. But but this was fun. This was a good foray into the world.
Very cool. So how did this one come about? Did an editor reach out to you, or?
Yeah. No, this was a if you will, a kind of a cold outreach. I think I don't have the copy in front of me. I think Paul Kupperberg the editor on this. I sort of recall vaguely. But this was this was just an outreach from DC, from Paul, if I have it correct, and knew my work, and figured my name sounds sort of British maybe, and I fit well with the British character and the other Brits on it, and it was a good match, and I think a lot of Dredd's sensibilities, or the Dredd sensibilities, I should say, matched up well with lots of my, interests, kind of wacky stuff, and, sardonic commentary and, wild action, those type of things. I mean, really, really combined well. It was fun to finally play in that world, not, knowing Dredd, and knowing 2000 AD and knowing a lot of the creators who'd worked on Dredd, but never really having thought that character was kind of available. But this was DC's, I guess, swing at trying to bring the character more to an American audience, not just reprinting the stuff, but doing, if you will, more American. Yeah, it was Paul.
Yep.
Okay. So, more Americanized audience, through stories that I think were supposed to be needed to be true to Dredd, but were a little bit more, if nothing else, fitting the American sensibility, slightly more expanded, storylines and that sort of thing. I had read a review at one point about this story, which was positive. It wasn't a raking over the coals, but it was sort of like basically saying, yeah, this is a kind of a Judge Dredd story that would have been 20 pages in 2000 AD. and here it's 60, or something. So, but maybe that's the pacing. That's certainly the pacing felt right. There was not any issues that I recall. But I think that's maybe what an American audience expected of this kind of story. Pulling it out and unpacking some of the other characters a little bit more, getting into it as opposed to just hit as you would in a Dredd short.
No, I thought the pacing was good. I mean, just everything with the criminals, but then you're kind of building up the the eager rookie, and all of a sudden it's like, how eager was he? Yes, very eager, no matter who it hurt.
Yeah, the 2x4, calling him Judge Quisling, was probably a little too on the nose, as it were. But I figured, I didn't have enough respect for my audience, I guess, at that point to think, well, nobody's going to know what this word means. I barely knew what it meant, so
So, were you a big Dredd fan before you worked on the book, or just do some homework?
I wouldn't say I was a huge Dredd fan. I knew Dredd. I liked Dredd a lot. I going to the other side of it, I found I mean, visually it was off the charts, but I found the pacing and maybe the directness of, and by directness I mean it's like, here's a 15-page story or something like that, and the shorts in that way, a little bit more off-putting, in some ways, or just didn't engage me in the same way that a longer story would. But that was perfectly appropriate, obviously, for the magazine 2000 AD and where that was coming out of.
Right.
But I knew a lot of as I said, I knew a lot of the creators from having worked with them. Alan Grant, John Wagner, and Pat Mills, and Kevin O'Neill, and to name drop a few, and certainly I had come up as an editor, editing Martial Law, which is one of my favorite books to have worked on, and learned a lot doing that. And Martial Law is Dredd adjacent at the very least, coming from Pat and Kevin. So I got a much deeper appreciation for it, and that kind of approach, that mix of action and commentary and snark and all the things that kind of went into that. I think through working on that book. So by the time I did get to Dredd, to have a chance to work on Dredd, I think I was much better primed. And then RoboCop had also come out, so I think RoboCop is, again, just a Dredd, a Dredd ripoff, but, very heavily influenced by Dredd, if you will.
Well, I think it was a few months after this story, but isn't this the same year the Sylvester Stallone Judge Dredd movie came out?
Oh, 95, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it could be. I mean, I like parts of that a lot. I think I think it looks great, in certain aspects of it. Obviously, it takes his helmet off way too much. Obviously, it's got Rob Schneider in it. The problem, the movie just kind of moves. That movie just moves. Maybe more like a short Judge Dredd story, because everything never has enough of a beat. Things just happen, and then it moves on very quickly to the next one.
The whole thing's only I think the movie's an hour and a half or something.
Yeah. It's
pretty
just
silly.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't. But there are things about it I did like quite a bit. I hated the whole brother thing or the clone thing or whatever it was. That was such an overdone trope. Yeah. Even then, I meet my my match, and he's, an evil double of me, that kind of thing.
Yeah. It could be worse. It could be Danny DeVito.
It could have been. Well, that would have been interesting.
As in twins.
Yeah. That was the original script for Dredd, and then they turned it into a comedy. But the Keith Urban one, is far superior.
Definitely.
And I cry that there's never been more of that. That was just so amazing.
It was so good.
Oh
yeah, again, 95. Any comic book movie was gonna.
Any adaptation
it was tough.
Was gonna be a
it was
mess.
Tough. But again, I think if you look at just the stills of it or some of the frames of the scenes, when he leaves the city or he's banished on the long walk, or the fight with it's not the ABC Warriors, but the robot type of thing. I mean, it's pretty superior in the way it looks. It just doesn't all come together. So they had a lot of the right elements. But you got Max von Sydow in it, and he's in it for a beat and a half, and then he's kind of gone. That's
what a waste.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Yeah. You're gonna have a talent like that in that movie for all of 5 minutes.
Right. But he was probably doing a Michael Caine. I don't know. I never saw the movie. I just took the paycheck, bought my mother a house. I don't know.
Well, again, it's the 90s. I think they were just like, okay, hour and a half to 2 hour movies. These people don't have attention spans. Now, these days, it's like, you're going to sit there and you're going to like it.
Oh, my God. It's like,
intermission.
Right. It's like, Avatar, fire, and ash, and please get me to the bathroom. It's just, it's just way. And that, 3.5 hour movie, you don't need that many water scenes in it. I'm sorry. That's just really, really torture.
Just tempting.
Cameron just does not care about his audience at all.
I see it as a Titanic.
Water everywhere.
But no, I was just thinking. I don't know when you would have written this story. Was that? I wonder if the trailer for the Sylvester Stallone movie was out. Did you hear Sylvester Stallone's voice in your head? Do you think?
Never. No. I mean, if I heard anybody's voice in my head, it was John Wagner's. I mean, just deep Scottish, broguish, rumbly thing. No, I mean, that's more what I would have heard. I wasn't, and I think it was really good for me to know those guys to some extent, because I wasn't intimidated working on the character because I knew them. I was more. I wasn't trying to be in competition with them, certainly, because they knew the character backward and forward and everything else. But there was a different sensibility when you're working on something where you're friendly with the people who are really associated with it. In my mind, versus if I didn't know them at all, right? And then they would just be these kind of intimidating characters that everything would be compared against.
So I've heard that this Judge Dredd, the law was Dark Knight. Is that true? Like that's what they kind of want.
Theming? You mean like each sequence of stories was supposed to represent a certain something?
Yeah.
Or, well, I mean, yes. I mean, I think they were doing that. They were, doing blocks of stories and then swapping out creative teams. And I think to give just some, for an editor, as long as everybody was on schedule, you're able to kind of amass a bunch of material and keep things rolling along, and then you get a variety of different stories, which if they're trying to, again, introduce it to an American audience more, you can mix it up with different people. I think John Byrne followed my story. And so then, you get a bigger name and, I go and then you get a bigger name or that type of thing. So I think that allows then the book to, work with some commercially viable highs and hopefully not lows, but maybe not quite as high as, and you can kind of move between, groups that way. But that's the way I understood it was intended to be. That they would, like, there was no thing that I would get another shot or they'd come back to me, but certainly that could have happened. But I don't know ultimately how well the book really caught on. I don't think it did. I don't think it lasted too long.
13.
Oh, was 13 the last one?
Mhm.
Okay. So not long at all. It's a little over a year.
Yeah, but something with that, like, did they have to get the rights to Judge Dredd? So that with something like
they
that.
had it for a while. They do. I remember them having it. So.
Right. There was another
And I
Judge
always
Dredd
forget
series.
it's DC too. Every single time.
Yeah. Right. And no, I mean, they would have licensed it, Phil. I mean,
Yeah.
it would belong to 2000 AD, and then they would have gotten the publishing rights to do it in the States or do a special edition of it or something like that. And maybe I don't know what the details of it were, whether they paid out or they swapped it off with, well, we'll do this and you can do that. I'm certain 2000 AD would have been happy to take some DC thing, and have a chance to publish it in the UK. But I don't know what the deets were.
Or I wonder too, were they trying to have a hit for the summer or the year since the Judge Dredd movie was coming out? I mean, DC.
I mean, that could have been it. That was never discussed. I mean, I think it's that kind of thing to my mindset, which is just my opinion as we're talking about it, is, you've got a phenomenally popular character in a certain culture, and why don't we see if we can make it work over here? And it had all the right elements, right? Especially for the 90s, big, outrageous character, armor, no nonsense, quips and sarcasm, blowing stuff up, big vigilante. I mean, it fit the model, but it's also outside the normal range. It wasn't a Vertigo title. It wasn't a DC canon universe title. So where does it fit? It almost feels like it's just kind of out there. And I'm sure it got some traction from 2000 AD fans in the U.S. and comic book store owners in the U.S. for that reason. But ultimately, maybe that's why it didn't find traction. But I wasn't privy to any of that, that stuff as to why it was picked up or why it wouldn't, have continued. But that would have been my theory. And sometimes things just don't click at the right point. I'm always amazed that the Hellboy movies weren't gigantic hits.
They could have been.
But something. But no, something. Well, but they should have been. I mean, but something that's phenomenally successful in one medium,
sometimes doesn't
and
translate, or you don't
and
have the
yeah,
right people on the project.
The right time.
right. But I mean, there were the right people on those first two movies. I think they're amazing. I my personal theory is it's Hellboy. Is the name Hellboy? I think people just kind of like like, got turned off to it and just didn't understand like the boy of it even more than the hell of it. So that's my theory.
Yeah.
This art complete, or did you kind of fiddle faddle around? Do you remember?
The idea or the art? You mean?
The idea.
No, I think I hit the ground, running with it pretty quickly. I mean, it feels to me rereading it, like it was a little bit comfort food for me, maybe a little too much in some ways. I mean, I think I had fun with it, and I love, rereading it. Like I don't notice any major stumbles aside from the Quisling thing, like I said. But it's, you guys have, graciously read way too much of my stuff. You could probably like play a bingo card with this storyline. High tech craziness, Cronenberg, body horror, video game references.
You're the king. You're the king.
I think there was a Bible I sort of remember that Paul supplied. That was a kind of a primer on, the Judge Dredd universe. That was, a quick start guide. So it kind of mentioned a lot of the concepts and the characters, like the long walk and the wasted lands and the aviators and that sort of thing. So I recall that, and I recall noting some things. This sounds cool. This is some stuff to use. But I think the elements feel like they kind of stumbled out of one to the other, in the sense of like I'd probably just watch The Fly again, and you get Insectivore, and then Insectivore's got to go on the run, and yet there's still got to be a threat to Mega City. We've got the long walk. You pull in another judge to kind of counterbalance Dredd. So it feels like the story probably came together pretty organically without a lot of challenge. But this would have been, I'm pretty sure, like a full script, because DC was into the full script approach at that point. Even then, I mean, everybody seems to be into that now, and so this would have been written differently, than most of the things I was used to at that point, which was more the Marvel style of writing the plot, getting the art, then scripting over the art. There may have been some over-explaining on some things because I was just writing it cold, not having seen the art, and therefore, rereading it. Some things I think I might have written differently if I had seen the art beforehand, right? I would have had to describe things in certain ways in some of the captions and whatever.
Well, I mean, we've had this discussion before. I mean, with more like futuristic stuff, you kind of have to get a little more detailed in your descriptions, right?
Oh yeah, when you're describing the world for the artist,
Yeah.
absolutely. Some crazy sky bridge, and there's like some mutating vat of whatever. That's for the artist. But I mean, even in the reader facing captions and some of that, because you don't know what the art's going to look like. I think there can be you can overcompensate because you're trying to kind of make sure that the story's propelling ahead in the dialogue and in the captions as you're writing it. Whereas sometimes, if I've done the Marvel plot version of something, and even if I've written in a lot of dialogue into the plot, then when I've seen the art, I have a completely different idea. And I think I went over this with you at one point, and there was a scene that always stood out in my mind with one of the Fall from Grace issues with Scott McDaniel, where there was a big double-page spread kind of ninja fight going on, and I recall having all these ideas in my head of the dialogue that was going to go over that. He was going to be talking about his senses, and how he was seeing multiple ninjas at once, and tracking the fight that way, and this was all going to go on. And then when I saw the spread from Scott, I think I just ended up writing, and they fight. because anything else would have been idiocy, right? It would just been belaboring the obvious. He had taken it so far beyond in all the the action, the detail he had packed into the spread, that for me to kind of add any other, even sensory type of stuff, would have just dragged it down, dragged it back.
So here, I was gonna ask you also, do you know these covers, are these like early digital or like
No, I
coloring?
don't think they're
or-
digital.
No?
I think
just
no,
the
I think
painted.
they're. Yeah, who did the covers? I don't have the credits in front of me. Does it say?
Credits. Yeah, it
they're
wasn't.
cool covers.
I mean,
Yeah,
it does look painted, but I
great.
wasn't sure just because wasn't this around the time they started like more digital?
This was around the time they started to do digital coloring.
Okay.
But this wouldn't have been a time when you would have started to see a lot of digital art, at that level.
Mhm.
I mean, some artists were experimenting with it, and some artists were doing, a few years prior, Mike Sines was doing a lot of work, but they was still very chunky. It was still very, pixely. Pepe Moreno, famously did a Batman graphic novel, that was touted as like one of the first digital art ones, but that's very, very chunky. It's
Oh yeah, I remember that.
it's like
one.
a Mac Paint thing. It's pretty cool
Yeah.
looking, right?
Yeah,
Justin?
yeah.
But it is,
It's
obviously
you can
computery.
tell what year it came from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this I think is I don't think this is digital.
Okay.
But I do not recall who the artist is on it.
I'm trying to find it. I mean, there is like they do credit a computer colors for the the inside pages.
The
but-
inside, the inside. Everything was going computer color, at that point, and then
Yeah.
it was also going. This would also be when digital lettering was starting to kind of, come in as well. So this would challenge a lot of colorists and challenge a lot of letterers. Drove some people out of business. It was a very much an upheaval, sort of time for that.
Mhm.
But I
John
don't think
Higgins did
art.
the cover.
John
Is it?
Higgins. Okay, all right.
Oh,
Yep,
okay.
I can see that. Yeah, I don't think the technology was quite there for most of these artists to sort of be playing with it in that way. Or if they were taking their art and then maybe bringing it into Photoshop and then doing some adjustments and tweaking in that way. But they weren't doing, full Procreate or anything like that, and certainly no quote unquote AI art or some nonsense.
Mhm.
That's what we have today for.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
San Diego, hey, let's bring in the digital, the AI artists. It's like, because we want to sell more booth space.
I mean, the main villain where you just like, man, he looks like a bug. Everyone hates bugs. What's
Yeah, no, I mean that's a good design. I mean they did
yeah.
some. I think the artwork is killer. I think
Yeah, definitely.
when I finally did see it, I was so it was so much fun. Everybody's like just that bizarro land feeling. The angular craziness of Insectivore, or the aviators are just
Aviators,
awful and horrible and grisly. Definitely, I could see again picking from. Oh, look, here's another favorite influence. I mean, there's some heavy Road Warrior shit going on there. Even the bridge character. I brought in, I think, for the third issue, the huckster. Sort of like opens the issue and does kind of the recap. The snake oil salesman or whatever he is. Just the look of that character, it's just tremendously fun. But there's a weird sensibility to that, where maybe that's also the reason it didn't like take with audiences in some way. Not for the story. I mean, Dredd overall, right? You're poking fun at the same time that you're doing. The big action and everything else. And certainly there are some people who want their comics very serious,
Yeah.
they do not want, not everybody, and certainly that's changed, I think, over the years, but that could also be something that made Dredd, not for everybody at that period. I mean, I think he's much more, it has to be much more accepted now when you look at it against the way people, the popular ideas for people and such.
I mean, it was just probably I was gonna say the '90s, probably before that, where things were starting to change. People were starting to see comics as a more serious medium.
Well, yeah, I mean, this would have followed Watchmen and Dark Knight, and that was, to my mind, always like the changeover, period where people overall suddenly were aware of certain comics. And then you had Death of Superman, which was a manufactured event, but people became more aware of things there for a short term. But I think a Watchmen and a Dark Knight, those were certainly serious works and approached everything very seriously. Not that other comics didn't. Certainly there were many that did. But then you get into a lot of things about people wanting their comic books to treat everything very seriously, which then takes all the fun out of it, or takes some fun out of certain types of stories,
Yeah.
And then sometimes the most minor thing, the Daredevil Grease story we did right before Fall from Grace.
Oh my God!
We took such shit for because it's like, how dare you have him laugh? How dare you tell a comedy story in Daredevil? Seriously?
Well, I think even at the time you're writing it, you're like, well, the next arc, Fall from Grace, shit gets real. So no, we're gonna have some fun for 2 issues.
It was the perfect time to run it because it was like we had the story in mind, and I thought it'd be fun, and Ralph thought it'd be fun, Pat thought it'd be fun, and we couldn't certainly run it after Fall from Grace.
No. Jack Batlin hunting down some grease.
Exactly.
Social engineer Jack Batlin. No, it's so funny because as you were saying that, by not taking it too seriously, the grease that story it popped into my head. I'm like,
right. And you that's sometimes the let off steam, and to me that was a refreshing thing about rereading this story and just thinking about Dredd is. They created a universe and a world, clearly, heavily just influenced by British culture and British sensibilities and British humor and British points of view and et cetera. But it allows you to kind of flip that switch between things from panel to panel, page to page. Once you kind of get into the groove of it, it affords you that opportunity. One page is amazingly brutal. The next panel, it's a sardonic quip or a piece of social commentary or something, like that. And again, and that's, and I said RoboCop was sort of a descendant of Dredd. That wasn't meant to be a diss in the sense of look, they ripped it off. I mean, they found a pretty perfect balance of that, at the point. Paul Verhoeven, did an amazing job, and there's a pretty great combination of high intensity action, the crazy commentary on the news stuff, the lunatic guy, I'll buy that for $1. And then, that scene of, when Murphy, Peter Weller, goes back to his house and he's kind of walking through it as RoboCop I watched it again recently, and there's a great documentary that, oddly enough came out around about it, but, that's really poignant. And that's that weird mix of sensibilities, that I think Dredd has had within it as well. And I tried to play off a little bit of each of those, as I went through it, and that kind of gives you a license to do that, to my mind.
Yeah, and as you're saying this, I realize I haven't seen RoboCop in many a year. I got to go back and rewatch it.
Yeah,
it still holds up. It's good.
It does, doesn't it, Justin?
Yeah,
it really does. Yeah.
It still looks
and the
good.
It looks really good. I mean, the stop motion is the ED-209 is the weak link in there, but but there was no other way. Right. Yeah. There's no other way for them to pull that off at that time. But as a movie overall, it's great. I mean, not Billy Mummy, Miguel Ferrer, is like a terrific villain. The guy who's the main lunatic. I mean, they're all. It's just a great.
I love the actor that plays the old man too, Dan O'Hurley.
Yeah, Dan O'Hurley. Yeah,
I love him. Yeah,
you're fired.
As a '90s kid, I only know the animated.
See, isn't that with the dog, right? It's like
yeah.
Have Greg right back on sometime if you want to just have him rip that thing apart.
We've heard a little bit about it. We want to hear the whole story.
He will do a whole story because he'll go on and on about how like the people who own the rights to that thing just had no conception of what it should be. I mean, he hired Alan and John, I think, for the initial like run of RoboCop the comic, and then they kept trying to, them meaning Universal or whatever the property holder was, they kept trying to turn it into a kiddie cartoon. So and they're like, no, this isn't what RoboCop is. And I hired these two guys from 2000 AD, and he was mortified that they were having to turn it into this, I guess, Saturday morning cartoon. So
yeah, I remember the ads for the Marvel did, I think, the RoboCop, the comic. I never read it. I was like, I wonder, because just I don't know, just
it should have been great.
Oh yeah. If they had taken it seriously like this, like the Dredd stuff, yeah, it would have been.
Oh yeah, I mean but that's a movie, and again, it comes from Dredd, I think, very obviously in a lot of ways. But I mean, we were mocking that movie to the moment it came out because it was all over the New York City subways. These huge posters, RoboCop, the future law enforcement. This guy in this robot suit, RoboCop. I mean, it was one step below a trauma film, as far as you could tell, and then we all went to an afternoon. I remember a bunch of us from Marvel went to a matinee on a Friday when we had Summer Friday, and we just walked in and we were all just gobsmacked. It was so fucking amazing. We all walked out saying, "That's a superhero movie,"
Uh-oh, Lilith, I feel like we need to do like a live watch of RoboCop with Dan and Greg Wright. So.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
For an episode.
I'll be there for that. Yeah,
I love
definitely.
that idea.
Just Greg smacking his head on the table every 5 minutes. That damn comic.
Oh yeah. That's it. Like just we watch the movie and Greg just has to leaf through the comic. Right?
I wanted this for the comic.
Well, I love this story. This reminded me of a lot of because I read a lot of the early 2000 AD stuff too.
Okay.
Like, ABC Warriors, and my all-time favorite is Nemesis the Warlock. I love.
Yes.
So this story kind of, it brought me back to I think it was an ABC Warriors story where they were kind of just tooling around out in some desert wasteland and encountering all this random stuff, and it kind of reminded me a little bit of that in a really good way. So yeah, I
that's
really
cool.
enjoyed it. Yeah, it's great.
I'll take that. Yeah, Nemesis is pretty hardcore. And, Pat's pretty take no prisoners. So
Do you think like DC was a good place for this series, or just because they couldn't go full out because you still had like a comics code and stuff? Did it need to be more violent or no?
Did this have a comics code on the cover?
I think it did.
I mean, if it wasn't Vertigo, I thought everything at DC at the time had like comics code.
I mean, by the time I left staff, I mean, the comics code. We would send things in, but it was more of a rubber stamp in a lot of ways. I mean, sometimes they reject stuff, but I don't think anybody cared. I mean, it was, and this is a very violent story. I mean, this is there's no shortage of grisly, icky, gooey, violence. Well, no, I don't think it's about violence in that way either. I mean, a story like this is over the top violence. That's what you're doing. You're not doing like, look, I took a knife and I did who's the serial killer in Batman?
Zaz.
Zaz, right? I'm not, right? Carnage's cousin. But I mean, it's
Marker Bingo cartoon.
It's just get our monthly Carnage reference in. It's not that type of story, right? That's a whole other level of violence and awfulness. But I think there's a lot of violence in this, to begin with. I wouldn't hand this to like a 3-year-old or a 6-year-old rather. That wouldn't be the story for me to hold over. I mean, you're saying rated PG-13, Lilith, right there. But I mean, Poltergeist was the first. Wasn't that the first movie that had a PG-13 rating? No, it was Temple of Doom. Ripping the heart out.
Adjusted for time. Now it is.
Exactly. So I don't think. No, I think it would have possibly a better publisher for it at the time might have been, Dark Horse. But I don't
yeah.
feel like DC did anything wrong. I mean,
Oh,
I'm
no,
not in
absolutely.
fault.
Just the audience would have been
Right,
more.
but
Mm.
yeah, because I think Dark Horse had more of a license, as an example, to have a broader range of titles. Right, they were doing Aliens and Predators and something,
Terminator, and,
Yeah.
Terminators, right,
Yeah.
and DC was probably more, again, identified with the DC universe and Vertigo, right?
Mhm.
But
That
they
was
also
their
had a miniseries 6 months before this as well, too. It's kind of like,
right.
they didn't let it settle. And I know a lot of at the time were like, man, don't wear out the license there, pal. And then they had all those crossovers like the Batman.
Batman, yeah.
Right. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure they had the whatever licensing deal they had struck, they would want to be taking advantage of that, right? They would be wanting to maximize that and get some traction and do something with it. You don't buy a licensing deal or barter for it or whatever they did, and then
Certain fans
not
always
have
go,
it.
hey, this is so cash grabby, man. It's like, that's fashion bag, right?
Right. But
it's a
well, exactly, it's a business.
we
You're
like to pretend like it's not.
trying to sell the comic book,
There might have been a little bit of promotion, but I don't remember a ton of promotion for this series because I was reading DC at the time, and it surprised me when I eventually learned about this series. I was like, oh, DC did a Judge Dredd.
Like I said, to me, I always think of it as Dark Horse. Always, I just never see.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
It fits the vibe of what they were doing, at the time. Certainly a lot more, but as I said, I do remember an easy, read Bible thing that Paul provided. He was a fair editor. I felt they got the character. They obviously got great talent, working on it from an artistic point of view, and bracketed me with Alan Grant and John and then John Byrne. So it wasn't like they were approaching this editorially, at least in the right way. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would love to see more of this.
Me too. Yeah. I mean, just as a reader, right? But sometimes that just doesn't happen. But the story, is a kick, and it's one of the few things. I have it here. I don't know. It's one of the few things I still have is like a surviving, like single, like a single copy of the script. I should have sent that to you guys because so much of the stuff was.
I was gonna say it survived the hard drive crash.
It did not.
Oh,
it did not. It did not survive the hard drive crash. What happened was
it was on stone tablets. Okay.
When I when I was scrabbling for anything, after the dark collapse of things, and I went to this one comic convention amusement park in Pennsylvania, which at first I want to go to because this sounds pretty pathetic.
Mentioned it before.
Yeah, and but anyway, this guy I met there, this guy Jody Fallon, who's a talented now painter, although he doesn't talk to me anymore because I made a joke about the price of eggs and he thought I was I don't know, insulting his political views. But anyway, I was selling. I was. This was before the hard drive crash, and I was selling copies of the script as for people who want to know how comic books were put together. And not that many people bought them, but Jody had bought one. And then years later, when I was talking to him, he said, "Hey, I've got a copy of that, of that thing. Do you want it?" And so he scanned it or copied it for me and sent me back. So it's one of the only 2 or 3 things I have left over from then. It was that, and it was Daredevil 380, the last issue of Volume 1. The plot to that. So those were the 2 things I was selling, and he sent both of them to me. So that was kind of fun to go back in and actually read, the actual descriptions of all the stuff in that way.
That was cool.
Yeah.
Is it do you still kind of work that way, or do you read the scripts and be like, why did I do this here? Is there a surprise? Are you surprise yourself, or you're like, really? I don't remember doing this.
I'm reading it right now. Let me see. So it was for the last. It was for the last one. It was for issue 7. So it's sort of like, exterior Cursed Earth Day, close up on Huckster, a crazed and trumpenour of the Cursed Earth. He's outfitted in a colorful collection of assorted rags, wears a crooked artful Dodger hat, sports a ragged smile that's long on the filthy teeth, and anything but straight. He stooped down slightly, beaming directly into the camera as he addresses the audience. No, I'd say that's pretty close to how I would sit down to write something now. I mean, that hasn't, that level of sort of description and then the dialogue is all here, as well. So since this was a full script, so yeah, no, it looks pretty, pretty close in. So you do this though, like
if it's easier on background and just being able to like actually like write a script plot more naturally.
I don't think you ever asked me, but like I always approach the plots like a film script anyway. Even though you weren't writing them that way. I mean, I would, and you've read a couple of them, I think, at this point. I even if you were to draw a line between pretty much each mini paragraph or each little mini description, you've kind of got my mind's eye of the panels. So even though if I'm not putting panel 1, panel 2, panel 3 into the plot, I am sort of pacing it out that way. Maybe I'm not putting quite as much, description up front, for each, because I'm trying to give the artist a little bit more. But I think an appreciation for film and film school and such did give me somewhat more of a discipline to think visually going into any of this. And so I was able to articulate that on the scripted page or the written page for the artist, maybe better than some, or maybe easier in some ways. But there are a lot of people who do it, and
there's
they do it.
People when you come out of them, they kind of just made that change.
I don't know who else was coming out of film school aside from me and Greg and Twain.
I mean, the three.
Yeah,
the Holy Trinity.
That's not bad, but I'm wondering who did I miss? I mean, you had the.
I can't. There was a couple people like around that time that were.
Okay.
And then there's a couple
I'm
people
sure
that
there
have
were.
like English,
right.
literary background.
And that's not right. And that's certainly not necessary. I mean, in any way, or shape. I mean, and there's plenty of people who write things in a much different way than I do, and don't to my mind think visually at all. But they sort of like pace a story and they write some dialogue, and those people have gotten away with, as we've said, like page 4 to 18 they fight, and then they get back pages and they write some great dialogue and great captions, and it stitches the story together, and they walk away and say, my comic and my artist, and but for me it certainly did. It was certainly helpful to think of it as a kind of a mini movie, and still does. I quite consciously try to move the camera around and move the characters around, and I'll stop and go back and do something, and redo something if I find I'm trying to there's always going to be a scene where you've got to get something across, exposition wise, or kind of to get to the next moment. But I don't want to just have them standing in an alley talking, or sitting around a table, talking. So what's the business that they're doing to kind of move things along? And even in a story like this, I don't have an example in front of me, but if it's Dredd and Quisling, going back and forth, or is it Dredd and Quisling going back and forth while they're cleaning their weapons, or restocking stuff, or that sort of thing. And then that can, lead to interesting moments. I mean, there's something I was doing for this, actually the second volume of this barbarian story from Black Box, as they try to figure out their whole diamond situation. I'm actually working on a second version of that. And then there was, sort of a scene that I had to do with these characters traveling, and I didn't want them just walking along, because I'd done some walking along scenes earlier. So that became like a river raft scene. And then the river raft scene led into one of the characters leaning over the side of the raft and, studying her reflection, and, that leading to some, different emotional moments and considerations, which I didn't initially have in mind. So sometimes you play those things out and they gift you back with something. And then I got to have a giant gator jump out of the water too, which was good. So,
nice. Yeah.
They all kind of, domino into each other.
Gator wrestling. I'm just gonna take
a little gator wrestling. Yep.
little
That's
reference. I'll take it.
You're speaking Florida woman's language up there.
Exactly. Don't mess with my gators.
But no, that's a good segue. I know last month you said you might have some updates. Any updates on that series or anything else?
Anything on the black box front that
Well, let's see.
Or Axis
I mean,
Infernal.
we're almost finished with the Barbarian story. I wish it had a name. Call it Skull Warrior for the moment, but I mean that's not the name of the name of it. It looks, and it could be, and that's fine if it is. I don't care if it is. That's totally fine. I've been calling it that in my head for so long. But that's about. I think Rodney, the artist, is on page, I want to say 12 of the last issue, and the colors is right up alongside him. So as is the letterer. So it's pretty much done. It looks great. But there's just the Diamond distribution system or lack of system is just killing people. Like, I mean, fortunately not totally, like in that way, but I mean, it's just hard for a black box to navigate. So you've got a series that I know he's really excited about, but at least it's close to being done. And I've said, well, let's how can you as soon as you can figure out what you can do with this, I want to start pushing some news around it. I finished the Alien conspiracy one a while back, actually, at this point, but we finally had a discussion around it last week, and so they're really happy with that. So I'm doing a couple of tweaks I want to do really on my own to it, but essentially that's ready to kind of get going. But he's looking into artists on that, so that'll be another 5-issue series, which again will hopefully overcome the slight need of a distributor. And then I just finished all the action descriptions for the second volume of the Skull Warrior one. So he must like it enough. He wanted me to do a second volume of it. So now I start to go back in and I'll lay it, then I'll start doing all the dialogue. I found that's the way it's been easier for me to do them that way. Like I start with my usual visual sketches, and then I go in and blow out all the visual sketches to panel by panel descriptions, and then I go and do a third pass, and then I add the dialogue or clean up any dialogue snippets that I put through. So it's iterative, but it seems to work out pretty well on that front.
So no ETA or that Demetrius.
No, it's on him, and by I mean on him. He would love to have had it come out last year. He would love to or announce it today, but it's just a matter of it's an unclear path in terms of distribution, and this and that hurt risk. Just the situation there. There were big gaps between issues, certainly, and the people who got the issues seemed to really like it. You guys gave it thumbs up.
Yep.
But so I think when people see it, they were really receptive. But when you have a distribution system that doesn't really exist, and then you've got months between books, that hurts. That hurts anything. So I think it's on Global Comics and it's available, and I do my little push for it. I'll probably refresh the little social ads I do just to kind of keep it out there, but that's not the same as like a big thing. So no real ETA. Hopefully there's some kind of situation that gets resolved for a publisher like him, so he can get the book out in a regular timeline. He's talked about Kickstarter and that sort of thing, but that might recoup his costs. But is that really going to get an audience? I don't know. I mean, that's he wants people to read the comics, as do I. So, and not that those people who would go on a Kickstarter would read the comic. That would be
it's just a hard upro.
Well, it's a hard upro roll, and maybe you finance it with. I mean, some people finance these things with say 400 or 500 people, right? I mean, or maybe 200 people. I don't know, depending on what perks and all the other kind of stuff you do, which is great. But then you've got 200 readers, right? I mean, he wants more than that, like more of an exposure than that. So, and he should. He does good books. He does. He's got a whole good line of stuff. So, we'll see what happens, and keep you guys up to date. And once we've got some kind of ETA, I can share out some more stuff and with you and some other folks.
He asked him to give Simon and that. I've heard that they have. So if he hasn't tried them, maybe,
oh really?
Yeah.
Are they like in terms of like
For
purchasing a
distributing to
stake in
direct
publishing or
market.
distribution? Really?
Mhm,
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
They kind of picked up the slack after this whole diamond.
All right. I'll ask him if he's talked to them. Excellent. All right. We'll pass that on.
I really want to see those books.
Yeah, I do too. No, I mean like
yeah.
the barbarian one is outrageously cool, and fun and the alien conspiracy one is just bizarro, but that's what it was supposed to be. So, but again, I don't know what these things are called. Like I keep saying to him, "You're the publisher. You title them." And I give him all these suggestions. Say, pick one. Like my pick is not necessarily the right pick. What fits your line? What fits the your vibe? What gets you excited? What do you think is commercial? So I'm good with anything you want to call it, but pick something. So I'm not calling it the barbarian comic or the alien conspiracy comic. I feel like working title goes here, that kind of thing.
It's been great picking your brain for another episode, and
Yes,
congratulations on
guys.
making it to 52 episodes.
Yeah.
Wow.
For a
We did it.
DC
We did a
comic?
DC one. Lil. Yes. Episode 52. Yes.
And I feel a little like I need Lysol after that one. No, that's
A little corporate synergy.
little corporate synergy.
All right. Well, I'm thinking next month it's been a while since we've been. I think maybe we need to go back and do some more Nick Fury, Agent of Shield.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
20.
All right.
Into some espionage.
Yeah, maybe
Do it.
25 through 31, which I think is the end of your run on Nick Fury.
I'll have to go back and figure out what ones those are. What is that one? Is that 25, 31? I'll figure it out.
Yeah, it's the last couple. I think it's like the last 6 or so of your run.
All right. Excellent. All right. We'll do that then. Terrific. Very cool.
And they are all on Marvel Unlimited, kids, so you got plenty of access. Go read them and send us your thoughts and
That's
questions.
right. That's
You really
right.
need an affiliate code down in the show notes for that Marvel
Yes,
Unlimited.
I know. Put it out there. Yeah, get yourself some bucks back on it. All right, that'll be cool, and we'll pick a date and make that work.
And all right, before you go, anything you want to promote? Appearances?
I this year I don't have paperwork in front of me, but I've been told it's a go for several Galaxy Cons. So if you are in Raleigh, Richmond, Nashville, New Orleans, or Oklahoma City, and you're interested in saying hi, I should be at all of those shows. Possibly one more that's a non-Galaxy Con one, but I have to take a look at that. So that'll probably keep me pretty busy. I think the first of those is in March. So that'll be cool. And Street Riders is down there, which Justin can vouch for a little bit, or will when he's finished reading it. So if you want to order a copy,
To the podcast, the companion podcast.
Scan the barcode.
Companion podcast is right there. Let's see. Very
Scan the
clever.
barcode.
And,
It'll take you right to the book, kids.
And this is fun. We'll talk about this later, like in the year. But Dan Brereton invited me to write a prose story for a monster anthology that he's coming out with in the summer. So it's a collection of prose stories about classic monster types, and interpretation.
Yeah.
So
that's great.
So he invited me to be a part of that mix, and I pitched 3 stories, and he picked one, and so I turned it in the other day, and they seem really happy with it. So that'll be fun to
We get a new
talk
flavor.
about. We get new flavor. Yes, see if it's a good one. I stress tested it against several test readers. They beat me up, and I got it to a good place. So
Was
I
Greg
think
one of
it's,
those people?
Oh yeah, Greg's always one of those people. Greg's the scary one, and then but he was his usual self, very good, very helpful, and but a couple other folks as well, and they came back with their own points of view, and yeah, it was a different approach, but it opened up my mindset to doing a couple other things in that way as well.
Was one of them, Craig. Lilith, I mean, come on. Craig Raid is like his personal right.
It's a running joke at this point.
I was going to say,
he's the bingo card.
Craig Raid is his own personal writing dominatrix. He's just like.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's very, yeah, it's no, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Yeah, it's scary. It's very, very mentally debilitating to think about like what it's like for me to hit send on those things to him and then wait for his response. It's sort of like, if he comes back and it sucks, he says it sucks, it just destroys me. So, but
I mean, it is a
yeah.
sign of a good friend, though. He will be brutally honest with you.
Oh yeah. Literally, I think one of his things. What the fuck are you trying to do here? Yes. See, yes. I think one of the comments on this is, I don't know what you were trying to do here, but whatever it is, it doesn't work. So
Print that on a shirt and give it to him for Christmas.
I don't know what it is, but I don't like it.
All cool. All right, folks.
All
Well, listen, enjoy the rest of your whatever it is Wednesday evening. Always a delight to see you three.
Thank
You
you.
too, sir. Thank you.
We'll espionage it up next time. I'll
Yes.
get my eye patch out.
Great. Yeah.
All right. Take care.
Thank you, sir. You too.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, if we ever run out of comics to talk about, I think we need to do some Chichester cinema. Do some live watches like RoboCop.
Yeah.
James Bond. We're
James
doing the whole
Bond.
James Bond franchise. What are you talking
James
about?
Bond.
Yeah, we're gonna do every James Bond movie because we only did Goldfinger with him. Yeah, we gotta do a lot more.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Classics and classic Dalton. Sure.
Yeah, I love those two Dalton.
I'm a 90s kid, so Brosnan's my guy because that was my Bond. And plus,
Well,
the video
yeah.
game is amazing. But
Yeah,
I
oh,
do have
yeah.
a healthy respect for Dalton.
All right. Well, all right, kids. As long as you got your wallets out to support DG Chichester, you can support us too.
That's right.
All right. So, where's my plugs area? All right, everyone. So yeah, send us your thoughts again. Next time we'll be talking Nick Fury, Agent of Shield 25 through 31. And again, you can send your thoughts on this Judge Dredd arc. We'll read them to Dan next time. Email us CapesandLunatics@gmail.com or call the voicemail 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. And you can find us on pretty much all social media. We also have a Substack, just like DG Chichester now.
Little newsletter? You got a little newsletter going, Pat?
I mean, it's almost. I mean, basically just for the episodes right now. But YouTube, we need YouTube subscribers. We're a handful of subscribers away from 900. So again, it's a hop, skip, and a jump to 1,000. So
Yeah.
Let's get us monetized, baby. Then
Thanks.
I'll have to stop saying the F-bomb. Damn! Don't you guys come censor Lilith Hellfire? Get us to 1,000.
she have to
The
train
only
her.
safe way to censor her.
She's gonna have to train herself. Forfeit Nugan, man, what is going on?
Oh, fudge. Oh,
But-
I know. I'm gonna have to be on my best behavior. Too.
But she didn't say fudge. You kind of already censor yourself, Justin. You say biscuit.
Oh, true. You're right.
Phil's gonna have a really strong figure for that censor button.
Whoa!
You know where you can get some practice? I'm kidding.
Oh, whoa! Let's do 1,000, kids, so get my fingers strong. All right, and you can help support us buying merch at TeePublic and Spring. And again, new merch because with our new logo, so new logo, new merch. Get it on the ground floor. Order now, Ray. Maybe you'll have it by Christmas.
Of next year.
You're right.
We'll send it by kangaroo. It'll be all right.
And of course, Lilith Hellfire's preferred method, just give us money through the Cash App link. Capes and Lunatics.
If you got a few pennies, aka dollars, send it on over. We can
Anything and everything helps, yes. And of course, you can subscribe to our Patreon, get exclusive, uncensored content every month. And I think when we do some of these interviews, we're coming up, or I think we're going to be recording ahead of time. So I think I'm going to post them on Patreon first. So if you want early access to some of these interviews, yes, subscribe to the Patreon.
Very cool.
So AVN Awards are from January 1st. So we'll probably do that for February. You will have to quit because it won't be live until
Okay.
you won't be able to watch it.
Okay. Alrighty. So, but yes, get exclusive uncensored content. And of course, when you are a patron like our friend Justin here, you do get to suggest topics for discussion. So again, as I say, the only safe way to tell Lilith Hellfire what to do, subscribe
Unless
to
you're
the
a
Patreon.
dog.
Unless you're a little a-hole like your dog. All right, so yeah, subscribe to the Patreon. Go to patreon.com/CapesandLunatics.
Fucking crazy.
Man, I have to bleep that drop then. Jeez.
I know, right?
Yeah, we're going to drop a lot of them. Dog is a medical term it is.
Bleep is a medical term. I don't know. We have a lot of workarounds.
The turkey gobbler.
All right, and of course, if you want more Justin the Owl, and who doesn't, I can catch him on the Lost Library of Legends and myself on some upcoming episodes.
Yeah, it's pretty
Waiting
soon.
on my invite.
Yeah, so well, we have to talk about that too. Yeah, the Luminosity, the Dr. Light podcast. I recorded some episodes of that with Phil that will be coming out in a few months. They're not ready yet.
I'm recording some more this coming weekend,
banking
right?
them early,
Yeah.
getting them ready.
That's the only way to do it.
Yeah. So, but yes, hopefully Lilith will join me for at least one or two of those, maybe.
Absolutely.
And if not that, the other character you have coming after Dr. Light.
Oh yes, maybe.
No.
I'll be like Russell. I'll be there every damn week, boy.
I was gonna drop a hint on the gender, but I was like, I don't know how much Justin wants me to give away.
Oh, it's another female character from DC.
Okay.
Yeah, and a redhead.
Got some
And a redhead, Lilith.
And a redhead.
You son of a bitch, I'm in. Doesn't matter. It could be Wilma from the Flintstones. I'm in.
Yabba dabba doo. And speaking of DC characters, yes, go to Amazon right now and pick up Dick Grayson, Boy Wonder, the book by Kristen that she put together a few years ago. Learn all the secrets of Dick Grayson. And again, you will learn.
How do you get Dick from Richard?
You asked nicely. Oh.
It's my favorite joke, man.
I know. You beat it every time.
Hey-oh. Maybe Arby's can sponsor us and we won't have to self-censor.
Yeah, come on, Arby's. Come on, you're just teasing us now with that.
Meat box. Come
Meat.
on.
I'm eating three. Lilith, I'm eating $3. Come on.
Killing me, man.
Yeah. I saw the commercial one. I was like, son of a bitch, what are they doing? Like,
Hey, this shit is called the Capes and Lunatics box, man.
yeah. Come on. Anybody wants to partner up with us, CapesandLunatics@gmail.com. And again, you can find me all over social media at Podfather Phil. Lilith, nothing to promote?
Not yet, but
Oh.
Nice.
working on the back endings. Hey,
Hey-oh!
Oh.
kind of hard to put the robot stuff.
Hey-oh,
in the background,
hard.
but I'll do it.
You could do episodes on. Okay, this is the next step I'm
I can't
taking.
show anybody my patent pending
Uh,
stuff
Oh yeah.
but record it as you do, and then just release the episodes once the patent's done.
now. Exactly. I don't want Zuck to keep it all top secret.
Or Elon. That's the only thing he hasn't effed yet.
Yeah.
That we know of.
Uh,
That we know of.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Again, got some interviews coming up. We got some Wonder Man talk coming up. We got
Yeah.
the first
are
episode.
you the comic book or the short book?
We were that's gonna be the Ray episode. We're gonna talk some like his memorable moments from
Greatest
the comics, because I think
Okay.
that I'm gonna drop that episode. I think it might be the day before the series drops.
Mm.
No, if there's any episode on the TV series, I might have to do it myself because I don't know if anyone else is watching it.
If you want to, I will.
Okay.
Since I skipped out on the reread thing, I can.
Okay.
Just let me know if we need to do
I
it.
I read about
I still have
the
Disney Plus right now, so
the
hurry.
Vision. I read about the Vision Quest show earlier today.
Oh, yeah.
There was a brief synopsis.
Are you excited?
I think from the showrunner, and I decided, nope, I'm gonna miss that one too.
Not excited.
Does anyone
No.
does anyone know when that's releasing? It's sometime
I
this
think
year.
that's next.
Oh, is it next year?
Yeah,
or
soon
maybe
as, soon
later
as
this,
that one's done, right? Soon as
or
Wonder
maybe
Man's done,
later
that
this
should be done.
year.
Well, no. Okay, well, it's probably sometime after Daredevil because Daredevil's coming in March, Lil.
Oh, that's in
yeah.
March. Okay, so
Yeah.
they're probably
I
in the
think
summer.
it might come out like literally right before Doomsday movie.
Yeah,
Maybe.
That makes
Yeah,
sense.
I'm
sometime.
thinking like whatever, like the how many ever episodes that is, he's right in
yeah.
Doomsday.
Yeah.
Avengers Day.
It'd be like
that
late
would be my
summer, early
best bet.
fall.
Maybe the other
Yeah.
side of summer. Yeah.
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 Maybe I'll have to try to get an interview for Vision Quest because Todd Stashwick's in that.
Oh hell yeah!
Oh.
We've talked to him before, and he's
That's my backdoor to ask him about 12 Monkeys. Yeah.
Oh, nice. There you go.
he's playing
I love that
Paladin.
show. I love that TV show. It's good if you haven't seen it.
All right, so yeah, Daredevil's coming in March. So I wonder what our March Chichester Chat's going to be about. All right, everyone, come back next time. Go support our
Same
friend.
DG
Same DG Chichester time. Same DG Chichester channel.
That's the new